we have a true legend in the sport today. Literally one of only 5 fighters in history to hold a world championship in 3 consecutive decades, 2000, 2010s, and 2020s. This is also the oldest ever fighter to win the bantamweight title and one of the hardest punchers in bantamweight history. The Philippines' own, but raised in California, Nonito Donaire, the Philippine Flash.
Hey, dude, it's crazy because we're always going back and forth, and that was my fault, though, man. My bad, bro.
Nah, it's all good. We got busy lives. So
No,
are
I'm
you in LA right now?
in Vegas.
Vegas.
Yes, sir.
Vegas. So this is, I don't know if you met Jeremy before, Jeremy Williams.
I mean, I know the champ. You know, I grew up watching him growing up, man. You know, so yeah, a pleasure, brother. A pleasure.
Yeah, I feel like I know you though. I feel like we linked up somewhere.
We probably did, man. We probably did. You know, man. I've seen a lot of fighters, and I mean, did you train in
Yeah,
LA?
I trained with Goose.
What court?
Wild card
Oh,
Goose.
Goosen. Okay, that's where I seen you. That's where, okay, because I trained at Goosen too back in the days.
That's where I know you
Okay.
from.
There we go.
Yeah.
So what with Funes, right? At Tangu's
Ricky's
gym?
Yeah.
controlling it now, but Joe Goose is the head guy.
Back in the days, I used to spar Casemiro over there.
Yeah, I remember that. That's my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goosen has a distinction to be one of the only trainers who's never boxed,
Yes,
who is
very
really good
You know what?
at training.
You know what? It's a matter of how a fighter or a person really look into digesting the boxing. You know, the boxing IQ. You know, there's so many back in the days that never really been in the ring, but they are great trainers, legendary trainers. You know, and I think that the passion really comes down to it, and the understanding of the mechanics, the body mechanics.
Very, very well said. Very well said.
Right. So a cool fun fact about Nonito is his wife is also a fighter, a competitive fighter, which I didn't know, which I think is dope.
Yeah, she's a Taekwondo champion.
Oh, wow.
So she's you know, yeah, she can fight.
She can kick too, huh?
Oh man, yeah, she can kick. And you know, it's one of those things I don't never want to get kicked again.
Exactly.
And is she Filipino
Yeah,
as well?
she's Filipino, but she was born and raised in San Francisco.
So speaking of, I want to start. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in the Philippines, at a little tiny island, you know, and I came to the United States when I was like 9 or 10 years old, in the Bay Area, California. So that's where I grew up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you came to the Bay, and at what age did you first step into a boxing gym?
I think I was, man, it was crazy because I think I was 11 years old. My dad had me box for 45 days, and he was like, you know what? Let's put you in the ring. And I was like, what? You know, back in the days for me, I never really cared too much about it. It was because I wanted my pops to kind of like, you know, appreciate me or see me, you know, one of them things when you grow up, you know. So that's how I got into boxing in the first place, and it, you know, it just kept going from then. National champion, and then turning professional.
So when you were an amateur, what weight did you start at?
Amateur, when I started, man, I was like 60 pounds.
Me
tiny.
too.
Man, you were 60 pounds when you went out.
I remember. I started at like 60 pounds. I was 7 years old.
Man, I was 11.
But remember, what did you represent Philippines, or you represent America in tournaments?
In amateur, I was in the U.S. So you know, it was America that I represented. I fought a couple international fights and won them. the JOs. I won
Yeah.
them, you know, and then the international as well. But I was representing the U.S.
Right. Okay. And then
Oh,
and what you 106, 112?
I was 106. Yeah,
Did
106.
you ever fight Tim Austin?
well,
No, but I fought James Kirkland, believe it or not, in the JOs.
Oh, yeah.
whoa.
James Kirkland, he was a badass in the amateurs, man. He was a badass.
Is he a light heavy now?
I don't know. He's heavy.
No, but
He's heavy, man. But yeah, I remember back in the days I was 15, he was 14, and he was knocking everybody out. He was knocking
what
everybody out with the body shots.
at
You know, I beat him in the
at 12
finals.
or at 6?
That was 106.
Okay.
106.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, how tall are you?
I am 5. Well, the craziest thing is when I was 18, I was about 5'4" and a half, but now I'm like 5'7". It's crazy.
So
I'm just
that's
getting
pretty
taller.
tall.
It's weird. Seriously.
That's pretty tall
Yeah.
for your weight, right? You were usually most
Yeah.
of the guys you fought,
And
right?
usually I'm the taller guy.
Okay. I mean, I was telling Jeremy you hold some pretty impressive accolades. Oldest boxer in history to
Wow,
win the
that's
bantamweight
wild.
title, right? First 3-time champion in the same weight class, right? In that weight class.
It's about to be 4.
4, okay.
Soon.
And here's the craziest one to me. You were one of the few fighters to hold a belt in 3 different decades. 2000, 2010s, 2020s. You were joined by Evander Holyfield, Manny Pacquiao, Bernard Hopkins, Eric Morales, and Floyd Mayweather. That is
Yeah.
dope.
That's
company.
the best company.
Yeah, man. I'm just blessed, man. I'm just gonna keep going until I get to the 30s too. You know.
So how old are you?
I am
How old are you now?
40 years old. I'm turning 41.
And you're still and you're active and you're feeling
Yes,
good.
sir. I'm fighting another title for the vacant WBC. The date is soon to be announced. I haven't heard about it yet, but you know, I'm hoping around May or June. But it's not finalized yet until I get a confirmation from Richard Schaefer.
And this is the bantamweight title.
Yes, sir.
Well, what is that?
Wow.
Bantam is what?
118.
118.
That's one of your
That's one
arms.
of my. That's one of my legs.
Yeah.
Are you having any problems making that?
No, that's the crazy thing is, you know, ever since I got the older that I get, the more I guess I would say spiritual that I get, and I do a lot of meditation and I do a lot of fasting. You know, one thing I've read about fasting is the longevity, how it heals your body. When when your body's focused on the food, it's digesting. But when you don't have no food in your system, you're actually getting your system to heal. And so I'm doing a lot of that, and I have no problem with the weight.
Happens when you have no food in your system? You're hungry.
What's that?
What?
I'm hungry. Yeah, man. You know, it's crazy because sometimes I go about 5 days, and I feel like
What?
I feel like I could go on for another week.
You go, hold on, time out, stop. You go 4 or 5 days without doing what? What?
Without eating.
Nothing.
Just water.
Just water.
What?
Yes, sir.
What? Wait,
Just water.
Nothing at all?
Yeah.
What do you drop in 4 or 5 days? You must drop like 15 pounds,
10
20
pounds. Especially when I'm 10 to 15 maybe. Depends where I'm at. That's why sometimes, because for me, when I train, Sunday night, that's where my start of my fast. And then on Monday, I'll spar. Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday night, I'll eat. So I'll spar again on Friday. So it's usually like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard of some Asian cats with like monks, like they don't eat for like 4 or 5 days, like nothing, and they drink water. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do, man. It's amazing for me because I used to wake up with a lot of aches, on my back, my knee from all the running, my hips, you know. And ever since I started fasting, I don't wake up with pain in my body anymore. So, you know, for me, it's working, and I kept doing it still, you know, and it heals. It heals a lot of my body parts.
Is there a point where you feel just exhausted and fatigued and drained, or no?
It's usually on the third or fourth day. It's usually the third or fourth day. So if I'm sparring on Monday, Tuesday, I got good days of training. Wednesday, I start to slow down. Thursdays when I'm really tired, you know, because I'm still training. But I could go on if I want to when it comes down to fasting. But when it comes down to training with fasting, the first 2 or 3 days I'm good. After that, I got no more energy.
Wow. So let me back it up a little bit. How many fights did you have total?
I think 49. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
like 42-7.
Okay, and so that was from the age of 11 to
No,
what
that
age?
was just professional.
Professional.
Yeah, that's just
I mean
my record.
the amateur.
Amateurs, I probably had about a close to 100 fight in the amateur.
Yeah, I was about amateur. Maybe I cut out. But you had 100 amateur fights.
Yeah, about close to 100.
That was 11 to what age what was your last amateur fight?
Was
How old were you?
17 and a half. When I turned 18, I turned pro right away. So about 17, I had my, on the Olympic trials in 2000, I fought in Olympic trials, and then I fought another smoker after that. That was it, and I turned pro. But I was only 17 then, and in California, you got to be 18.
Right. Did you have, was that power there as an amateur?
You know what? They called me the Flash because I was fast, you know, and I didn't really have that crazy power. I mean, I had some punches, pretty good punches, but I wasn't known for knocking people out, you know. So yeah, I was speed. It was all speed. And then when I turned pro, my first professional fight, I knocked the dude out in like 12 seconds. So that's when I got, wow, this is crazy. You know, professional. I'm like, hey, you know, so yeah.
I told you this before. I think, you know, you might be the hardest puncher, if definitely top 3 in your weight division ever. I think. I mean, the power was really there, and that's really rare in the lower weight division.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, man. Go ahead, brother.
I don't know. Tim Austin knocking people out too, at 12, 18. And no, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that the De La Hoya at 25 was killing them.
Yeah, that's because we would rehydrate at like fucking 20 pounds heavier the next day.
Well, for me, I mean, when I turned pro, I was 106, but there was nobody in my weight class, so I went up to 15, 18, and 22 because there was nobody to fight, and this is why you see my knockout rate is not as high as it should be because they were bigger than me, you know.
Well, you were champion. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy. This is impressive too. Flyweight, super flyweight, bantamweight, super bantamweight, and featherweight. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You got a whole room full of belts or what?
Yeah, I got about like almost 20 belts. A few of them. Yeah, about like 15 world championship belts because I'm fighting on my 10th championship. But I have fought what do you call that? Defense, or the title defense and stuff like that, and other belts and all that stuff. You know, sometimes they just kind of give it to you, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'll take it. You know, but I have a lot of belts at the house. You know, but 10 of them are world championships if you count the IBO.
I mean, you also have some Joe Louis type shit where you went almost 12 years without losing.
Yeah, that was I had the fighter of the year, and I got 2 knockout of the years for a living guy.
Yeah.
Darchinyan and Montiel.
Darchinyan and what?
Wow.
Darchinyan was the first guy I knocked out to win my first title in 2007. I got knockout of the year for that one. And in 2011, I fought in the bantamweight against Fernando Montiel. That's when he was like shaking on the floor.
Yeah.
My theory, and I don't know if this is a good theory, but I've been thinking about this lately. You would punch down mostly, right?
I would punch down a lot, but I would crouch down a lot too. I crouch a lot. But a lot of the punches that I hit people with is something they don't see.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh.
So I'm a
you think
counter puncher than anything. Coming in underneath, you know, my left hook is like a hook and an uppercut put together. It wasn't going across like 45.
Like a half up, right?
Yeah, that's what I do. So that's why because I'm a lot taller than a lot of the guys I fought.
Yeah.
So when I throw the left hook, that has to come from underneath.
Yeah.
Well, what was your the most satisfying victory you had? Most gratifying win?
For me, I can't ever say or forget about the first title that I won against Darchinyan. I mean, that was just unbelievable for me. You know, the first title, and you can't forget it. You know what I mean? It's embedded. You know, it's part of me. You know.
That makes sense.
Okay. So that was a dope. I mean, that was an amazing fight. But on the flip side, now, what was your most disappointing fight?
Well, I would say the last one would be the most disappointing for me, because I came in there with a lot of expectation about myself. I worked really hard. I think that was most that I was very in tremendous shape in my entire life, and to lose that way against Inoue was just heartbreaking for me. But because I felt like I could beat him. The problem was I came in there, you know, because my pops couldn't make it. My mid guy, which my pops, he couldn't make it to the fight, and so I was missing pretty much the guy who warmed me up to go to the fight, you know, to go to the ring. So that pretty much what happened to me. But I mean, credit is due. The guy can crack, and you know, you got to give that respect to him. But you know, I want some more smoke, man. I'm gonna go after that, but I gotta align myself with that. I love fighting. That's how I am.
Do you think that he's one of the hardest punchers you've been in there with?
I think he would be the hardest puncher that I would say who hit me. You know, I fought against Walter, who the first guy to drop me in my career, but he was heavy. You know, he was heavy. You know, I was fighting featherweight. He was weighing in about 147, 148 when we fought. Yeah, 130. That was, you know, I was 126. You know, that's 4 pounds away from when I weighed in. So I was a small guy, and so when I got hit, I went down for the first time. But when Inoue hit me, he hit me pretty good. You know, so you know, he can crack. But I mean, I feel that I can hit harder. It's just that he got me. You know, I'm always gonna go for broke, man. When you hit me, like when I fight you, it's like it's either you or me. You know, it's always been that way with me, and I'm not afraid. The thing is, I'm not afraid to lose. I'm not afraid to get knocked out. As long as I get my knockout, I'm gonna try it.
Well, you know, do you think that Pacquiao being so popular at the time when you were in your when you were really popping off, do you think that maybe hurt you and you weren't known as well because there was already another Filipino fighter? Or do you think that had nothing? Didn't play a part.
What Pacquiao he had opponents with great names. You know, for me, I have a few opponents with good names. So that pretty much what it is in terms of comparison. And I have to say, in boxing, everybody kind of watch the bigger guys. You know, from welterweight and up is what, you know. I mean, as it is, we're like, you know, we don't get paid as much compared to the guys at 47s or even at 30s.
Well, you know, Prince Nassim kind of started changing right?
That was just one guy. You were just one guy doing this outrageous shit from England, and you know, so he
was.
But no master, you know, he was an entertainer. You know, he came out there dancing. He came out there. You know, he was just an enigma when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? Like people were like, man, I gotta watch this dude.
Right, but you had almost the Tyson thing where there's certain fighters who get eyeballs on them because they're, you know, they talk a lot, they're charming, they're controversial. You had that kind of what you did in the ring demanded people to watch because you were fast, you were knocking people the fuck out regularly. So, you know, I remember when you first came on, I was like, who the fuck is this? You know what I mean? And you had that. So I like you. I feel like maybe the Pacquiao being around and it maybe took a little attention off you. Whereas if he wasn't around at the same time, I think you would have gotten a lot more attention.
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, there's a lot of variables when it comes down to, you know, again, the opponent that I had it wasn't like a Cotto or a De La Hoya, you know, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me, it was just guys
True.
that never really kind of, I mean, they had good names in my division, but they never had the accolades that like the bigger guys, you know, and that's pretty much yeah, that's pretty much what I would say. What contributed to where my name is in terms of comparison to the bigger guys.
Right. Are there any other? I was talking before, and I'm trying to think. You and Pacquiao, what other Filipino fighters have made it to like the highest level? Am I missing somebody?
They got Peñalosa before Pacquiao even came in the picture, but he wasn't really that. He was in some like ESPN fights and the night fight back in. So, but he wasn't like.
I think Pacquiao opened the world up to Filipino fighters, and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then you came in. You know, like you came before him, but you came after him because he was like, look at this guy. He's killing it at 19.
Right.
So when you go to the Philippines, are you recognized there like a lot?
Yeah, you know, it gets crazy at times, especially if I'm there for a fight. It gets really crazy. But when on a regular day, they'll definitely notice. They'll take pictures of stuff, you know. And yeah, it's a great blessing. It's just
Which island are you from in the Philippines?
Bohol. That's where in the Visayan region next to Cebu.
Yeah, it sound either the sound went off or the words are short. You said I'm from
Bohol and Cebu. Yeah, but I grew up when I grew up at the same city as Pacquiao.
Which is
General Santos.
Bohol.
Could you let him say it, please?
Okay.
Say it again.
Huh?
Where are you from?
General Santos City.
He keeps breaking up. General
Santos City?
Yeah, that's where Pacquiao was from. That's where I grew up too as well.
General Santos City. Huh.
Oh. Yeah. Did you know him growing up? Or no, you left. Did your family know his family kind of thing?
When I was younger, actually, he was out of the school, but his best friend, Boboy Fernandez, the one that's always with him, he was actually one of my mom's students because my mom was a teacher.
Oh wow.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. So we ask everybody on our show this question. Couple of them. First one, can you name me your top 3 greatest fighters of all time in your opinion?
You don't have to say me because I'm on there.
Man, Sugar Ray Robinson. I mean, there's a lot, bro. There's a lot. I mean, Ali. But then for me, you know, Hagler, Hearns. I mean, just, you know, those I count them as one. Then Hagler, Hearns, Duran, you know, Leonard, you know, all of that guys, man. Back those days, man. Those were amazing times, man. Oh, so I can't really because I'm a huge boxing fan. Back in the days, you know, the old school fights. I mean, they were incredible fighters, man.
So okay, so forget that. What up, Corey Spinks? Forget that. What fighters, if you can name 1 or 2 or whatever, did you idolize and maybe even fashion your style after a little bit?
me, my father loved Sugar Ray Leonard. Leonard was his favorite fighter. So a lot of my style back in the days was based on Leonard. And for me growing up, who I idolized watching TV was Roy Jones.
Me too.
Yeah. So hey, I was, I mean, I played basketball too. Shit, you know what I'm saying? You know, but yeah, I mean, back in the days, it was one of those things that everybody would talk about because I grew up with Andre Ward. Me and Dre we technically just kind of started together. His father was
Oh.
was just like our uncles. So they always took care of us. So Dre's favorite fighter growing up was Roy. Days was Roy. De La Hoya and Trinidad because I was a fight back in the days. But for me, my dad always made me watch the old school fights. So that was what brought me and my style.
Right. And I mean, and Roy was a tough fighter to idolize because his reflexes made him do such unorthodox shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, or not many, or if not, can't do what Roy can do back in the highlights.
Right. So, okay. So, who are your top 5 right now, active, excluding yourself?
Oh man, I like Usyk. I would say even Fury too. But if he's fighting, man, there's a lot. I like Bivol. Bivol Beterbiev as well. Man, I have a lot. Jamel Charlo. You gotta give Bud and Spence. Even Boots.
A lot of
And there's just so many good fighters, man. I as you can see, I love boxing, man. I can't really pick anybody. It comes down to fighting. You know what I mean?
Okay, so let's do this because you're picking a lot of guys who are going to fight, and we don't know yet who's going to win. So I'm curious who you think is going to win. So first off, Usyk versus Fury. Who you got?
You know what, man? I would say Fury's the bigger guy, and he has that jab to take away the lateral movement that Usyk has, that he was able to do with Joshua. But I don't think he can do that with Fury.
No. Yeah. So you're gonna lean towards Fury.
Me too.
I agree. I think Fury too, right? Fury's just too big.
Yeah.
He's like a cheat code.
Yeah. And the beauty right? He knows how to use his jab to kind of push you off and off balance and all of that stuff,
No, he's educated with his left hand, that's for sure.
Yeah. It makes him dangerous, because he can set up a lot of punches from underneath, over, side, whatever he
Not to mention he's freaking gorilla size, freaking monster.
Yeah.
I mean, for a big guy like you to say he's a monster, that shows how big of a monster he is.
Big.
Or how big he is.
I'm big. People walk down the street, they go, "Oh, you're a pretty big guy." They see him, they go, "God damn." 100 not that guy.
But you, man, can be contested.
Oh, my bad. Okay, so all right, so we got that one. What about, you mentioned Bivol? Bivol or better BF?
Go with Bivol because the way he goes around and the way he uses that jab. Beterbiev is gonna go out there, as you can see in the beginning fight rounds with the kid from what's his Yard. He was having problems with that distance, and Bivol can do out of that. That's why for him, he was having that problem with somebody moving in, coming out, and moving in different directions, because I didn't expect Yard to be boxing the way he did, in all the fights that I've seen. But when with Bivol is gonna go around him, gonna use the jab, gonna use that feint. Feint is what is gonna make him stuck, and Bivol loves the feint.
So you think Bivol? So you would pick Bivol?
I'll take Bivol. Yeah.
I, I I don't know, but I've heard stories like we're cool with John Scully, who is a co-trainer of
Okay.
Beterbiev, and I've heard stories. Who would I talk to? Chad Dawson, people who've sparred Beterbiev, and people who like the stories that I hear. They're talking like this guy is like Terminator, robotic kind of like unheard of strength. Not just the punching power, but
Right.
just the physical strength. You know, and you hear these stories, but when you hear from people like that who aren't full of shit, it makes you wonder, like, wow, maybe he's something really, really special.
Right. I don't know, man. I mean, you know, it is all technique when it comes down to it. He can be outboxed. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can be a robot, but if you can't take the guy in front of you, you know, and he's peppering you with jabs and hooks and all this stuff that he does. I mean, don't get me wrong, Beterbiev is a hell of a fighter.
Yeah. So what this fight probably isn't gonna happen, but fuck it, might as well ask. Crawford Spence.
I think it's a hell of a fucking fight. I hope it happens, but you know, I heard that there's talks now from sources, you know, that they're talking, you know, so, that might be something. But that's just hearsay, you know, whatever he's saying he's saying that, and it could be passed on to everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But ultimately, great fighter. He's basic, is top notch. I think better than anybody in the game. You know, the jabs, the setups, and all that stuff. But I gotta go with Crawford. I think he's dynamic when it comes down to different varieties, fighting lefty, fighting right, and using that jab and using a lot of skills when it comes down to it. But sometimes the basic style is all you need to beat, no matter. You know, if you follow the simplicity of a fight, sometimes I can beat the complexity of a style.
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
Right.
Sometimes simple shit.
So you would lean for, you said Crawford, right? I agree with you. But so now, okay, so now this other one. Now I feel like this question, when you're asking real fighters or real people who know boxing, is kind of an obvious answer, but I'm asking you anyway. Ryan versus Tank.
Well, the thing about Ryan is he has speed in his hands, but he doesn't move his feet at all. He just kind of leans, right? People don't see that. Yeah, he's fast, but he don't really does the leg movement, the in and out, and all of that stuff to set things up. He's right there to be hit. He leans, but if you go to the body, you might be catching him. But he can also catch you with the hook because he has that range. But the thing with Tank is he'll break you down, and it's a matter of how disciplined. So if Ryan is disciplined enough to be consistent in his jab, hook, and move around and keeping that distance, I'm gonna go with Ryan. But to me, I think is used to this kind of fighting taller guys and getting underneath, and he's gonna block and he's gonna get in there, and it's just a matter of time where I think he's gonna mentally break him down. And he's gonna open, and when he does land those shots, when he's in there, that's when Tank is very, very strong, very powerful, you know. And looking at the and on paper, I think Tank is the probable winner when it comes down to this fight.
Yeah. I agree. I think Tank, he always finds a way. I think Tank's only shortcoming is his size in terms of, he's short.
That could be a plus for him because I hate fighting short dudes, and I'm taller than everybody. I hate.
Why?
Back in the day,
why?
I used to hate fighting.
It's hard to
because it's hard, and you know your jab sometimes just slips past them, and they're right in front of you, man. You know what I'm saying? So you know you gotta learn to use that jab and push them off and all of that stuff because I used to hate fighting shorter guys. Now I've gotten enough experience that whoever it is, bring it on. You know what I mean? You know, but if Tank or if Ryan does not understand that kind of style, it might be very troublesome for him, and it might be easier for Tank to get in there.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
and, okay, so here's another one. Plant Benavidez.
Plant is a great boxer when he does, or if he does box as well. But the thing is, he's not boxing. Benavidez is going to go out there with volume, and he's going to keep that distance closer and closer and closer, and he's going to throw that volume punching where it's hard to be offensive when you have all those punches coming at you. The thing about it is, when you look at Benavidez or Plant, he breaks down when he's pressured enough. You know, when he fought Canelo, with Canelo, like, he broke down. He slowed down and he stopped doing what he needed to do because he was too worried about getting caught with a big shot. Now, if Benavidez is in there and it's heavy and he makes it known that I got this power, you better watch out, then that's gonna mess with Plant's mindset and mentality.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think Benavidez is gonna just overwhelm.
Well, that's what we're looking at right now. But if Plant learns and be disciplined enough to throw that jab and box around, you know, he can do some stuff. But that's a question that I would wonder if he is able to do that continuously. Is the question.
Well, we shall see pretty soon.
This is something we always ask people as well. Is there any fighter that you ever really wanted to fight but you never got the chance to?
I would say Lomachenko, when we were in the same weight.
You were or you weren't?
We were on the same weight.
Oh.
So when he fought Salido, I was trying to get that fight, but he ended up fighting Salido instead of me.
And that was his first loss, right?
Yeah, that was his first loss.
But that was only a second.
I got a big shot to beating Lomachenko then. You know?
So even at his second fight, they were offering a lot of money to fight him?
I don't remember, because, like, for me, I don't deal with that. My wife does it, you know, because it's amazing when it comes down to it. For me, I'm there to fight. That's it. You know, I remember fighting for a few dollars in the Philippines, and you know what I'm saying. So that's it with me. I just love fighting, man.
Right. Okay, so the last question I want to ask you is, if you could fight any fighter in history, live or dead, past, present, who would it be?
Man, I don't know, man. I have too much respect for those old guys, man. But I guess in my weight class, I would say, when I was fighting at 112, I would say Carbajal.
Dude, this is a good fight.
Yeah, well, you know, I would, at his prime and my prime, I mean, that would be a great fucking fight, because both of us are balls, and, you know, you can drop us, we keep coming back at you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that would be a hell of a fight.
You had the height on him by a lot.
Yeah, but he's gonna be. So we're two hookers, man. We're two hookers.
You guys two hookers? Hey, don't be hooking me.
I love hooking, baby. I'm always hooking. I'm the number one hooker.
Nonito, man, thanks for talking to us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, brother.
Hey, brother, because I was trying to set up, man, but for being late. And finally we got to do this, man. Please, let's do this again, man. Champ, I appreciate you, man. Good to see you, man. And thank you for having me, bro.
Yeah. Our pleasure. We'll talk to you after you get the victory.
See ya, mate.
Peace.
Sounded